doing push-ups. I've been doing sit-ups. I've been doing chin-ups. I've been doing pull-ups. I threw up once, but I'm okay now.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to a Thursday. Let me check. Yep, Thursday edition of the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you. So excited to be with you here today after a great day out on the road, on location, and at athletics over in Columbiana. Spent the entire day there. Cannot tell you enough, and we'll get back into that a little bit. I know people were really excited to see the behind-the-scenes tour, to hear from the Wardle family, to hear from a Division I athlete like Jacob Gehrig, and to just kind of see everything. The response has been unbelievable, and I know they're excited about it. We'll continue on as to not necessarily what, athletics is, but why it's needed, why it's very much needed here in our area. We also have, not to be overshadowed, the head football coach of the Springfield Tigers, Sean Guerrero. We sat down and chatted it up about the season preview, what you can expect from the Springfield Tigers. We'll talk about the Tigers today and give you an all-inclusive look inside what it's going to be like this year for a Bo Brungardless Springfield Tiger team. Sean will break all of that down for us. We appreciate him popping on and saving us, really just saving us effort. These coaches are so good. And I mean, not just good, great, I should say, at knowing what media outlets are looking for, knowing what, and they do it, 3-4 times a year to start the year in previews and stuff like that. But our previews are a little bit different than the rest. We're not looking for 10-second, 15-second sound bites. We want to ask them questions, and we want to ask them the questions that you want to know about your local teams. And that's why what we do is a little bit different. Not that it's more important or we put it to a different standard or higher standard, but what we do, I think, is a little bit more in-depth. And I think that's appreciated. And I think the coaches appreciate it too, because we have to do a little bit of homework in order to ask some of the questions. It can't just be put it in a box and plug in your algorithm here to make a story. It's a little bit of, hey, we know what you did last year. We know what you lost last year. What do you have coming into this year? But we make it a little bit more personal than that is, with all the things happening. And we'll talk about to Springfield and Sean Guerrero about dropping from D6 to D7. How does that motivate your kids? How does that kind of give them a little bit of cushion in an era that just ended over the last couple of years of being, state runners up and having all that talent, all that, the prospects to get there. What's the next wave of the Springfield Tigers going to look like? And Sean Guerrero is going to answer that for us in just a little bit. But first, as we do each and every day, it's time to get to On This Day in Sports History. So a local tie-in today on this day in sports history. In 1996, the then New York Yankee, Daryl Strawberry, hits his 300th home run. Now, I remember Daryl Strawberry for the years with the Mets, the crosstown rivals, the New York Mets. Meet the Mets, meet the Mets. Step right. I think that's how it goes. I don't know. I learned it from actually an Everybody Loves Raymond episode, so I'm not sure. But my grandma, my family originally, my mom's side from upstate New York, half of them are Yankee fans, half of them Met fans. And I fell in love with Daryl Strawberry at a very young age, not knowing all the particulars necessarily that surrounded him. But I was a huge Daryl Strawberry fan. Got a Daryl Strawberry starting lineup figure that I just, like an action figure, right? I carried that around. Really, my first real love for baseball came from Daryl Strawberry. Then it turned into Barry Bonds, which it stayed forever. Bobby Bonilla, Albert Bell, the bad boys of baseball. I'm starting to feel like I have a thing, right? I have a type. But why that's important is because Daryl Strawberry links in locally because coming up on August 15th at 11 a.m. At the Lake Club, it's going to be the YSU Baseball Golf Extravaganza. And it will feature the 8-time MLB All-Star Daryl Strawberry. All proceeds will benefit the YSU baseball team. Every golfer receives food and food and drink on the course, full dinner after the golf, a door prize. Food trucks will be on site. Games will be on each hole, and you get to hang out and have dinner with Daryl Strawberry, which I'm excited about. Trying to get my hands on a Daryl Strawberry jersey because I think it would be sweet to have that as one of my first ever heroes of sports. So it'll be, again, dinner with Daryl Strawberry. Baseball fans will have an exclusive opportunity to have dinner and a Q&A session with National League Rookie of the Year, 8-time MLB All-Star, and 4-time World Series champion Daryl Strawberry on August 14th at the Lake Club. Cost of that is $200. That you can still get in, be sponsor of this program. We're excited to be part of it. YSN, certainly we're in the driver's seat when it comes to YSU baseball and the coverage because we cover literally every single game. I think Richie did the best job I've ever seen of anybody following just coverage. And we're excited to have that and be part of that. And we'll be at the YSU baseball golf extravaganza with Daryl Strawberry. And again, that comes up on August 15th at 11 a.m. at the Lake Club. If you need information, you can email Dan Bertolini. It's D-A Bertolini, BERTOLINI at ysu.edu, or you can call 330-502-2187. Again, we will be there. Excited to once again be part of that, and just an honor to consistently be able to help out these teams, to be part of their story. You know, not necessarily in the mainstays, but you know, in the behind the scenes, being able to talk to these great baseball players who are here locally at YSU, the coaching staff, which we love, Shane Davis, Bunny, you got Berto, all of them. We absolutely just enjoy being a part of the fabric of that quilt, so to speak. So looking forward to that. I think you should too as well. When local stars come here, Danny Bertolini and his team do a great job of bringing in some great. Kenny Lofton was last year, Jason Kendall. And I'm trying to think where that Jason Kendall was the first pitch breakfast. Kenny Lofton was at the golf outing, and they've had some unbelievable people show up over the years. So this year, no difference. So make sure you get signed up for that outing coming up in a couple weeks here, right here locally at the Lake Club. So we'll have that for you. All right, let's get to Sean first. We talked to Sean a day or two ago. He is, and obviously all coaches right now are absolutely bogged down trying to get their final things planned for August 1st, because that's when it all starts. Fall sports starts August 1st officially. We've seen 7-on-7s. We've been to 7-on-7s. We've talked about Springfield. That some of the changes that you're going to see, Shondell Gardner, Colton Rourke, are going to be supposedly splitting time at quarterback, but they're both playmakers. And I think the biggest thing for Springfield this year isn't necessarily the wins and loss record, right? And we'll let Sean talk about this, and we'll kind of break it down after. But I think watch the answers. Watch as Sean answers, because I think in my heart of hearts, he's enjoying everybody just right over top of him. Springfield's back under the radar because of who they've graduated over the last 2 years. And I think Sean Guerrero embraces it. You can tell me if I'm wrong, but certainly tell me one way or the other, and sit back, kick up your feet, and enjoy this segment of Coach's Corner with the one, the only, Coach Guerrero. And welcome And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, another installment, another season of Coach's Corner with Sean Guerrero. And guess who gets to pull the short straw this year? It's yours truly, DJ Yokley, hanging out with the old head ball coach, one of my favorite dudes. Sean, you and I had a lot of conversations over the summer. Not a whole lot accomplished from those conversations. A lot of laughs, usually on your side. But when you look at all the things that happened this summer, all the things that transpired, coaches are getting ready for football season, obviously. How did you spend your summer?
How did I spend my summer? Well, it first started off with the Penn, Ohio game. And I guess that's how the conversation started off with me and you. So it seems like it's been a quick summer. Not too much time to relax, but I know for myself, in doing the Penn, Ohio game, I thought it'd be quality time for our staff we have some coaches in some new spots, so we thought it'd be a good idea to try to get those guys accomplished and get a game in with those guys in some new spots. And it was a good 2 weeks. Great group of kids for that. It was very enjoyable. Very happy that Ohio was on the W side. So with that, then it started. The focus started on the Tigers, and we trying to be there. You know what I mean? Try to focus on us. You mean ever since that point. So I think our kids have had a great summer. I think with the senior class that left us, a good senior class, and that's with talent and leadership. There's a lot of room for us to grow, and our kids been doing that. I mean, there's been some ups and downs. There's been some bad days and some good days, but we just got to make sure we challenge our kids every day to make sure that we get the best out of them.
So the question I have for you, and forgive me if I've asked this already. I think I might have done it during the broadcast, but you talk about the Penn, Ohio game. What were the different challenges as a coach to prepare for a game that you didn't play for 2 weeks necessarily, but you didn't have the players that you're typically accustomed to, as opposed to being a coach for Springfield and having your same Warriors week in and week out for 10 weeks?
Well, I think with that, it's you got to make sure that you're going to be organized in all-star games. All around. You want to be able to make sure that you get kids that show up. Two, and that's something you got to keep it simple. You're not going to be complex. In calling the offensive game, you got to think, okay, if we have 50 plays that we're going to call in that game, how many plays do you need to have to be successful? So you try to condense a lot of stuff. Keep we kind of ask the kids, do you want to go with the number system? Do you want to go with words, just to try to keep it simple? And the kids, have some positive input with those guys that have played in it. There's been a lot of kids that have played a lot of football games, and we had a lot of high quality kids. And in the 2 weeks, you want to try to find out who the playmakers are and make sure you get them, the ball. Obviously, the advantage of our point is we had, 6 guys from Springfield. West Branch I think we had 4 from there. South Range, we had a couple. So we had some good quality kids. And not just staying in those 3 schools, but all around we had great quality kids that showed up to practice, that worked hard, that had an open mind. And we tried at that point, try to make sure we play all the kids. And if they all put those 2 weeks in, you want to be able to make sure it's a good experience for everybody. We were fortunate enough to come out on top. But the kids we had to, obviously, the Nick from West Branch, Wilson, that kid was legit. And between him and Bo, it was kind of easy to say, okay, that's who we want to get the ball to a couple times. And I don't know. He had to have, close to 100 yards receiving. I think he had 2 or 3 touchdowns. Yeah. So you want to be able to make sure with that, you just got to find the playmakers you want to get the ball to, try to get them in one-on-one situations and let those kids do what they do.
Yeah, you were in a really unique situation, you and your staff, because as an all-star coach, you were able to kind of put a bow on an era, no pun intended, essentially on an era of Springfield football that not many people are going to forget. What was it like for you to have that front row seat and your coaches next to you to really usher out one era of Springfield football and really be able to say, hey, it was awesome to do this one last time?
Well, for him, and again, you kind of for Bo, it seems like you don't want to get in his way. You don't want to screw it up. But the stats for that game for him, I try to go every other series with him. So he didn't play the entire game, but his stats, you wouldn't have thought that. I think he was 14 of 15. Mm-hmm. I think he threw for like 260 and rushed for another 60 or 70. So I just want to be able to make sure that we got him in good situations, make sure he knows the read, make sure that, you know what I mean, in that game too, there's not too many coverages, but you just, again, keep it simple and let Bo need Bo. I don't want to get in his way and try to be too complicated for him, but I mean, on that, you just got to give him the ball and let him go. He can showcase himself, and he's a great football player, and he's smart, he's intelligent. I just try to let them go on that when you put other athletes around that. And I think that was kind of the thing that has made us go so far. As we had a supported cast for Bo. So people couldn't just go 9 in the box and say, okay, we're going to stop Bo, because next thing you know, he's slinging around to 2 or 3 other guys. You know what I mean? That we had quality other athletes around him. And I think that's why we actually made our run. And like with the line, even, you always got to talk about our line. Our line was, at that Penn Ohio game, was I think we probably averaged 270. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I coached that game another time, and I think it was 2014. And it's hard to get linemen, but this year it kind of matched up where we had the linemen with the skill, and just want to, like I said, keep it simple and let the kids do what they do.
So, after doing this for 14 years, the change is inevitable, and there's going to be players that come and go. This is a new era, as we talked about, of Springfield football. There's a lot of people that are counting you out already because you don't have 21 under center. You're taking that as kind of a rallying cry this year. You like being the underdog and being the guys that are not unknown but undiscovered potentially. Is this new for you, or have you been in this space before?
Well, no, I mean, with the success that we had over the couple of years, I mean, when you talk about Bo, and again, we talk about, the senior class or even the past 2 senior classes, we've had some great athletes. With that, I think one thing that we always have credited, and you're always going to lose some quality kids through your program, and which we have done. But it seems like, at least in the past couple of years, we've always had kids step up, whether they were a 1, 2, or 3-year starter. And now it's time for other kids in our program to step up. And I just had the conversation with Colton Rourke and Shondell Gardner today. I kind of pulled them aside. I think they're having a great summer so far. We're going into our last practice tomorrow before doubles. I'm going to give the kids a couple days off. And I just told those guys where they both have strengths, where Shondell is going to be a little bit more mobile. Colton is strong in the pocket. He has a great arm. And they both have, like I said, unique strengths. But those guys aren't going to be Bo Brungars. Those guys don't have to be Bo Brungar. Those guys have to be Colton Rourke and Shondell Gardner. And they're going to have to showcase on what they do and how they play. It's okay for them to be themselves. And that's what I want our kids to feel comfortable with. They don't have to try to replace Bo. I think with our whole team, we got a lot of kids we need to replace. Between guys like Aaron Groner, who played tight end, who was awesome, Zeke Worstencroft, AJ Stallsmith. Those guys are all kids that were 2-3-year starters for us, that had motors up front, that could move people and do it. But now we got, the Austin First, the Tyler Young, the Thomas Shealy, those kind of kids that are going to have to fill those shoes for those guys up front. So that's the challenge of our kids, to making sure that they can end up rising. Lucas Totillo is another one in there who started last year and had a great year for us. And the same thing with our skill kids. Shondell Gardner was one of our better wideouts last year, and he's going to have to, whether he's playing quarterback or wideout, he's going to have to accept that role and make sure he's the best wideout he can be. Dylan Shealy had a lot of snaps, so I don't want to put too much pressure on our guys to act like it, but we just got to take a step back. And when we talked about winning, state championships, maybe we start with league championships, or maybe instead of scoring touchdowns, we're focusing on getting first downs, keeping the, second and short, second and, 4 or 5. That's what we got to do. So we just got to pull back a little bit and not act like we need to score 60 points, a game, or do that. We just got to try to win football games and put our kids in good situations. And I think for us, it's the kids, I think we got all-time high right now of 62 kids on our football team. So that's exciting. We got a lot of positives that are going through our program. So we just got to make sure we keep our positives going, and just keep the energy up, and let our kids know it's okay to make mistakes. We're not going to, we have a tough schedule, weeks 1 through 3. And then we're going into our league. So I just want our kids to know, that we don't have to win a state championship in the first week. Last year, everybody talks about the success that we had, but nobody talks about that we lost the South Range by 20 week 1 last year.
So from that standpoint, I was going to talk about your schedule a little bit, but I appreciate you diving into it. There's a lot of people over the summer that were scratching their heads about a lot of it. You guys actually moving down from Division 6 to Division 7. How do you think that affects maybe not just the mental state of the Tigers, but does that give you a little bit of a jet boost, knowing that it's a little bit of change. It's not so much the same as it was, but a little less pressure for these new guys stepping in to have to live up to. They can kind of write their own story at this point, can't they, in Division 7?
Well, correct. And like I just said, we don't, in our first 3 games, we don't have to win a state championship. And I think with the kids that we had back, I think there was some pressure for us, you know what I mean, to go out and be 10-0 and to try to doing that. And I say with this is we just got to make sure we get better every week. You know what I mean? In division, I mean, any of the divisions out, you mean, legitimately, can we make it at 3-7, 4-6? Yeah, probably we can make it. You know, I mean, do we want to be 3-7, 4-6? No, we'd like to be 10-0, but we just got to keep our focus on weeks. You know what I mean? Week 1 right now, and then focus. You know what I mean? Week by week. I don't want to get too far ahead of our kids where they're thinking, oh, we've got to already think about playoffs and home field advantage and things like that. We got a long way to go for that. We got a lot of work to do before that even happens. So. I think our kids are focused on that too. I don't think they're looking too far down the road. And you know what I mean? You go to D5, D6, D7. There's a lot of good football teams in those divisions. So yeah, we go from Mogador to JFK, or you know what I mean. There's been a ton of schools. So are there schools out there in Division, you know what I mean, 7s that are established and ready to go? Yes. So we just got to make sure by week 11 or by week 12 or 10 or whatever, we have to be the best Tigers team that we can be by that point.
So naturally, since we're going to do this every week, we don't have to take 20, 25 minutes to do it. But what is the biggest challenge that you feel the 22 Springfield Tigers are going to face week 1 to week 10 overall?
I think the best challenge we're going to face is in between weeks 1, 2, and 3. And if our kids can stay together and stay positive, because again, we got a tough schedule and never know what's going to happen, or you never know what goes on. So could we be, I mean, could we be 3-0? Yes. Could we be 0-3? Yes. But if we can stick together through this grind of the first 3 weeks, I think by week 10, we could be a very good football team. We got a lot of kids that I feel like what you said earlier want to feel like they have something to prove. It's their time to play. It's their time to shine. And they're taking that on. And I think that's a good challenge for our kids to who's going to be the next kid that's going to score the touchdowns or throw the touchdowns or get an interception or make the, you know what I mean, game-winning tackle or whatever it may be. So our kids want to be, you know what I mean, fill the shoes of those seniors. So I just think we got to stick together for these first 3 games. And it's going to be challenging for us because I think this is probably the most challenging, you know what I mean, first 3 weeks that we've had, and probably since I've been there. So we just got to stick together and be positive and make sure we get better every week. And I think if we can do that, I think we'll give ourselves a chance, you know what I mean, for the league and by week 10 to be able to make a playoff run.
All right, Sean, it's time to take a step off the field and off of the X's and O's and ask you my favorite question, the off-the-wall question, being that you just got done cutting your grass and it is the last week in July. It's Christmas in July, my friend. What was your greatest Christmas present that you've ever received?
Oh my goodness. I don't know about that. I would probably I'm gonna have to go to my wife, because a long time ago when we first got married, we got engaged on Christmas. And when she said yes, I mean my wife is, and that's why I was cutting my grass, because if she's not happy, nobody's happy. But she's been a blessing. She's let me coach football and do what I do for a long time. And that's something that I've been blessed with, a supportive wife, and she lets me go and she supports me in everything I do. So that by far would be the gift of for myself, to be able to just have her in my life and be at that point, because she's a great mother, a great wife, and God, I love her dearly. So that would probably be my best Christmas gift at that point, would be her.
Okay, so I got to ask a follow-up question, because my wife's birthday is Christmas Eve, and I know that if I don't get her separate birthday presents and Christmas presents, I'm in trouble. So when you popped the question, was it just the ring, or was there another Christmas present that went with it?
I got her clothes or something like that. I think we were too young at that point, but no, it wasn't I wasn't a one-hit wonder.
That boy, Shawnee.
No, but it was a good time, and I mean, I think we were just graduating college. We were married when we were both 24, so we got married young. But I think it was the best move that she ever made, so it all worked out for the best.
Coach Guerrero, we appreciate you so much. I'm looking forward to spending time with you this season. Good luck moving into week 1, and we'll be there for you.
Thanks very much, DJ. I appreciate you.
So there you have it. Some technical difficulties early. I apologize for that, but got it all straightened out. Sean Guerrero, always love spending time with him. It's a great relationship that we have. I have, whatever you say. A lot of our personalities, a lot of our talent are able to dive in a little deeper than just football and a little bit deeper than just sports in a lot of these relationships. And Sean Guerrero is certainly one of those guys. Love talking to Sean. I know when his name pops up on my phone that my chops are going to get busted a little bit the second I hit accept. And I love it because Sean you can quickly understand why the kids are so attracted to a coach like Sean and his coaching staff, because Sean cares about the kids. Sean cares about the kids on the field, off the field. He cares about them relentlessly. Almost, it's one of those situations where you're like, okay, kind of like your parents sometimes where you're, all right, I get it, but you need that extra push or you need that extra kick in the pants to get going. Sean is an easily motivated guy. He cares so much about the program he's built over the last 14 years. And some notes. 62 players coming out for the Springfield Tigers this year. 62 players, which is one of the highest watermarks that the Tigers have ever had. It tells you that the success they've had over, let's just take the last 3 years. In 19, 14-1, state runner-up. In 2020, 11-1, state runner-up. And then you got 21, they're 13-2. They've got 4 losses over the last 3 seasons. So with an algorithm like that, it's easy to get the little Tigers, the Cubs, so to speak, stirred up and get them, bought into the program, bought into what Sean Guerrero and his team are building at the varsity level. And he lets his kids know that, listen, you don't have to be Bo Brun. You heard him say it. You don't have to be Bo Brungard. You don't have to be this player or this player. Be yourself. We'll fit you into our program, and we're going to go a long way. We're going to try to go the 16 weeks. We're going to see how it goes. A lot of success for these teams. A lot of success for the Springfield Tigers. And I said it before, after I saw them play 7-on-7s. Pardon me. They're going to be there. They're going to be there when it's all said and done. There's a lot of people that are looking at this Tiger team and saying, it's payback time. It's payback time. So let's take a look at this monster of a schedule the first 3 weeks, right? You've got what I would consider probably early front runner for game of the year in week 1, South Range and Springfield. Now, South Range can set the tone for what we think is going to be an excellent year. Springfield is in that same boat. But you look at this, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be an absolute battle between these two teams who have no love lost for one another. Respect out the wazoo. But there's no love lost. If you ask South Range and Springfield, respectively, it is still the top rivalry. And the fact that we get to see it week 1 here on YSN and it's going to be a party. I'm telling you what, there's some special things that are being planned. It's going to be a party. It's going to be a good time. We'll be out there live for our preview there from a standpoint of game day, our very own game day, which we call prime time. We'll be out there at Springfield and South Range right next to the scoreboard, have interviews with coaches and players hopefully prior to the game. So we're excited about that. So you get that game out of the way, right? That's the dust settles on week 1, and then you get Brookfield. So congratulations, you get past South Range, one of the best teams anticipated to be one of the best teams in our area this year, and you are rewarded with Brookfield, which also going to be a stellar football team this year. They're going to be tough. They are rugged. They are absolutely prepped and ready to go. And Brookfield Springfield, which was a fight last year, is going to be another one this year that you're not going to want to miss. That's week 2. Week 3, you got Geneva, which is a non-conference, obviously. All 3 of these being non-conference to start the year before you get to the MVAC. But Geneva's no slouch. Geneva's a team that's going to test the Springfield Tigers. So you look at what Sean and the Tigers could be up against. They could be 3-0, and nobody's going to bat an eye. They could be 0-3, and nobody's going to bat an eye. Because at the end of the day, these are 3 tests very early on, and then you get into conference play where anything goes. So then you get week 4, Mineral Ridge, week 5, McDonald, which is always a battle. Waterloo after that, where they're going to be good, I think. Jackson Milton can beat you on any given Friday. And it's not helping me out with the rest of the schedule. Well, I mean, let's just be honest. They finished the MVAC schedule, right? So it's going to be a war is what it's going to be. And with 62 players, what that does to Sean's team, what this does to the Springfield Tigers, is it gives them a little bit of depth in a situation where they might need it. Now, everybody's talking about the quarterback position this year. Who's going to be the next Bo Brungard? Well, again, I have news for you. There is no next Bo Brungard. No matter who gets the snaps, and it's going to be who gets the snaps. I anticipate that Colton Rourke is going to be the guy that gets the majority of the snaps. But when you've got a dynamic player like Shondell Gardner back there, it opens up a world of what can be for this Tiger team. Because let's say that they catch you off balance, Springfield, with Colton Rourke. Because, listen, the kid can sling it. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's 6'3", 210, I think, is at last check-in. I mean, he's molded out of cement. He's a different player than Bo, and that's okay. Because I think, again, Colton Rourke is going to be a standout player, a name that is going to be a household one throughout the season this year and next. But when you add Shondell to that mix, look out. And we all know how much Sean Guerrero, the head coach of Springfield, enjoys trick plays, enjoys mixing things up a little bit. And when you have a guy that has the tools of Shondell Gardner, who can take snaps if need be, and you can put him anywhere on the field, and he's just as dangerous as anywhere else, my goodness. It's going to be like watching Sean Guerrero on Christmas. What we talked about him popping the question on Christmas, he's going to be opening up presents for 10-plus weeks because he's got guys that they can – I mean, you can watch Springfield film for the last 3 years, and this is going to be a completely different squad. It's going to be a new look. It's got to be like getting that new car, if you will, taking that big – okay – all right, it's a new car. I got some new toys, navigation system. I got cruise control. I got all these, big screen. Sean and his staff has got to be excited. Not that they're not always going to be grateful for what the last few years have been at Springfield, but what the future looks like. I mean, when you drop to, and listen, he'll tell you, there's people that are waiting for them in Division 7. The JFKs were never going to back down from anybody. I don't think anybody in Division 7 is necessarily going to back down from Springfield, although I do know for a fact there are teams that have concerns. There are teams that said as soon as they saw New Middletown Springfield drop from D6 to D7, there was a lot of people that went, all right, well, that's the new target. That's the new team that we have to put a target on. When you're running those gassers at the end of practice, there's a lot of coaches that are blowing the whistle a couple extra times because Springfield's going to be there. Springfield's not going to get tired. With 62 players, some of these teams only have 20 plus. They're in the 20s. And Springfield's going to have 3 times as many players on those sidelines because of the excitement of Springfield football. That's what's been built up. And the one thing that's eluded Sean through all the talented players over the last 14 years is that state title. My goodness, they were there. They had their fingers on it. It was there. I was on the sidelines. And they just couldn't. It just slipped out of their grasp. It just slipped right out of their grasp. So how sweet would it be, not only for Sean, not only for the team, but the community of Springfield, who shows up. I would argue Springfield not only shows up to their home games better than anybody locally, but they also travel. If you've ever seen Springfield, and you have, if you've ever seen them travel, they make it a home game. It's always impressive. It's always impressive the way they support their kids. And they'll tag it homegrown. They are not an open enrollment school. Their kids are their kids. And it's interesting. It's always interesting to see how this materializes. You got 62 boys who all have one vision right now. And when they drop from D6, not that they didn't have a shot at a D6 title, but when they drop from D6 to D7, I think that revved their engines up a little bit. I think they see their path. Are there people, again, are there teams waiting for Springfield? Probably. Are there teams that are looking at Springfield as the new watermark, the new, stick bearer, so to speak? Probably. But as Sean is going to tell you, we haven't done anything down here yet. And this is going to be an interesting year. But if they can stay healthy, if they can stay focused, if they can look past, no matter what happens, the first 3 weeks, if Springfield can look past the first 3 weeks and do what they do, what they've done, I guess, in the MVAC, I got to tell you, they're going to be hard to stop in the playoffs. Because they're going to take, as Sean is, and again, people are going to sit there and say, I'm fanning the flames here. But I would argue that Sean, better than anybody, has his team prepared by week 11 because of what he's done between weeks 1 and 10. Getting guys reps, getting some of these 62, getting the 23rd best player on the team, the same reps as the 4th best player on the team. It's all about getting reps, getting confidence, running plays. Yeah, you're going to put them on tape, but executing at a very high level so you know what you're doing. And Springfield is a well-balanced team. They can run. They can pass. They have a great line. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for teams in this area to stop Springfield. And I don't know why people are just looking over on them again. They're just looking right over them and saying, well, Bo's gone. It's time to knuckle up. Springfield's they're there for the take. They could be. I could be dead wrong on this. And a lot of times I am. But I don't think I'm wrong about this. I feel really good about Springfield. There's a lot of guys with a lot of jobs to win, and I'm always an advocate of competition brings out the best in everybody. You learn a lot about yourself through competition, and I think that guys like Colton Rourke, who you've seen him on YSN for years, as part of the Astro Falcons organization. He's a great player. He's a great athlete. Saw him a couple weeks ago, and the kid, he's a man. That is a man. And he is taking the challenge full tilt of people looking past him. He's ready to make a name for himself, and he's ready to etch his name on a trophy as the starting quarterback of the Springfield Tigers. And listen, again, the playmaker of the year could easily be Shondell Gardner. It wouldn't surprise me if this dude just starts racking up all the accolades because he's been a dude for some time. He is a weapon. He's fun to watch. And I cannot wait to see the Springfield team in action as they open up against the South Range Raiders in week 1, August 18th. That's that Thursday. They're going to have a lot to talk about on that Friday, I'll tell you that. So we are excited for that. Thanks again to Sean Guerrero for stopping by and spitting some knowledge with us about what's to be. We'll have the weekly interviews with Sean Guerrero coming up. One of the great coaches and some of the great coaches in our valley. We are incredibly blessed. And I know that we say that a lot, but some of the coaches we have and the time they give, and they just want to talk about their kids, highlight their kids and their programs. We're very fortunate. So thanks again to Sean. Appreciate that. We're going to take a break. We come back. We want to talk a little bit about athletics again, and why we need it. Not necessarily to do the plugs like we did yesterday, but the conversations we had yesterday lead to, I think, an awesome conversation today as to why we feel our kids are at a disadvantage here in Northeast Ohio, and why places like athletics, if you can say places, I think there's only one. Places like athletics, even the playing field, which in turn, I think gives us an advantage. All that and more when we come back on the Ysn Power Hour. Reliability, innovation, scale. These three values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
And welcome back to the Ysn Power Hour. DJ Yoakley with you. Thanks for being part of it, as always. I feel like that always goes kind of unsaid. So I want to say thank you to everybody that supports our shows from 12 to 4, and then all the streams and broadcasts that we have. It's not something that's easy. I know it takes a lot of time, resources, and it takes a lot of support, which all of you bring to the table. We had an incredible response to our exclusive tour, behind the scenes tour from YSN and athletics yesterday, blowing up. Thank you for checking that out. I know there was a lot of people that were anticipating that. They want to see it in person now, which is huge. We were out there the entire day yesterday. This has been something that has been cooking for a while. It's been cooking for a couple of years. I've been fortunate to be part of some great circles, and the Wardles are certainly one of the circles I'm very proud to be a part of, and to be able to cross paths with people like Sean and Rachel and Michelle and Rich and Barry, and you go to Ty and across the board. And we had some great interviews yesterday, I thought, that explained not only the business, but the people behind it. And that's important, because I'm a firm believer that a leader will cast down their, whatever it be, their personalities onto their business, onto their team. That's why I'm a firm, a firm believer that coaches, their players will be a direct reflection of them. And if you're in business, and especially in a sporting business, the people that you hire, the people that you surround yourself are going to be a direct reflection of you. So if you hire ill-advised people, your business is going to be ill-advised and you're not going to attract much. But if your leader is someone who stands out, unique, tries to make the right decisions for the right people at the right time for the right reasons, your people will reflect that, and so will your business. And yesterday, beyond it all, being able to talk on camera and off camera with some of the Wardles, as you know, I said it yesterday, they've kind of adopted me in and given me some looks behind the scenes and given me, and I'll say this, Rich Wardle has been a huge advocate for what we do at YSN, as does Sean, as does Michelle. I mean, all of them. But being able to ask questions, just off the record questions, like, what made you do this? You know, Rich Wardle, a very successful businessman, very successful, and he could have just retired and just, you know, enjoyed life. Not that he didn't before, but enjoyed it to the point where, hey, he paid his dues. But instead, which I love this story, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing it, but his business partner told him 15 years ago, you know, when you retire, you should start a sports complex. And here in 2022, it's about to happen. The vision for athletics has been a long time coming. And I know that family is just chomping at the bit to open those doors, to get people in it, to get people just there and make those visions realities. And it's going to happen. If yesterday was any sign of what is to come, this is going to be a massive success. But why is it going to be a massive success? Well, let me explain to you in my words. Our kids, our student athletes, our athletes, whatever you want to say, pin them in together. They've been at a massive disadvantage for such a long time. And Sean talked about it a little bit yesterday. Baseball players, softball players, you're only getting a little bit, maybe half of the year to play your sport, because the other 6 months you can't play. That just changed. We just took that and flipped it on its head, because now our athletes can play 12 months out of the year in some capacity. They can go in December and still get hacks in. They can still take ground balls. They can get fly balls now, which was a challenge because nowhere had a high enough roof to take fly balls. That all changed yesterday. The script has been flipped, and our kids now who are already competing, you look at what Boardman's doing right now. The 12U girls on the regional stage in the Little League Softball World Series, stuff like that. I mean, that is huge. Now you take that and they can hone their skills year round. It's more than a batting cage. It's more than just a plot of turf. You know, we have turf. You can see it. It's right there. We have turf. I could take ground balls here, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get better. It doesn't mean I'm in the right place, the right mindset. Athletics, that facility has so much. And I try to incorporate it in the story about it being more than just a physical place to get better. Mentally, you can prepare yourself. You can make yourself better. You'll be able to watch videos. You'll be able to take down numbers and stats and efficiencies and inefficiencies that you have. Our kids are at a new level of advantage now that we've never had. So imagine, it's almost, I want to compare it to Captain America, right? Okay, Marvel reference, I know. Most people have seen Captain America. So you've got the scrawny kid who just really tries, right? He wants to be part of it. He wants to have his hand in there. But you never just get over that threshold. And then here comes this technology-driven, genetically modifying opportunity for all of our athletes in the area. and they call themselves and brand themselves athletics. And now your kids from a very young age have the opportunity to perform better in the classroom, perform better on the field, perform better on the court, perform better cheering, cheernastics, all things that I'm very excited about. And you should be too. Back in the day, we went to, my friends and I had the ability to go to, our parents would take us for an hour and a half, 2 hours to a batting cage. You'd put a quarter in, you get 10 swings, right? But what's crazy about it is you never knew where the ball was going to go. And I think it made you better. Heat up, so to speak, right down the pipe. Now they make hitting machines that coaches can stand back there and dial in exactly where they want the ball to go. And it can be as if they're live at bats, not just like that doesn't happen anymore. Even the jugs machine, right out, right? And it's one spot. Maybe you get a curveball. This is different. This is different. Gamification of your skills. So anything from the Top Golf swing suites to going in the cage and being able to play at whatever field you want to play on from a major league standpoint and adjusting it based on your age. So what's gamification? It's basically like video games, but you're actually getting workouts in. You're doing the work, making things fun. There's going to be leagues. Dr. Dish over in the field house. For those of you who don't know, you press a couple buttons and all of a sudden it's kicking out to you and hitting your scores. It tells you if you made it, you missed it. There's going to be leagues for that. There's going to be volleyball tournaments, basketball tournaments, pickleball tournaments. There's going to be softball being played over in the field house, like real life games. There's been conversation about men's softball being played in the field house. Leagues. Athletics is more than just a pole barn inviting people to come and spend their money. And I've already heard it, okay, it's just a bigger X, Y, or Z. No, I'm telling you. And I was adamant about this. I wasn't trying to embarrass Sean, embarrass the Wardles by telling them that there's only one place like this. There's only one athletics right now, and it's in Columbia and Ohio. And it's an opportunity for people that are serious about getting better to get better. But just like anything, it's an opportunity, and you can take it or you can leave it. But the excuses end now. The excuses about we can't train 24/7, 365 because we live in Northeast Ohio and we get, a foot of snow for 3 months out of the year. That ends now. Snow days should be spent at athletics. Whether you're playing or training or something in between. I know as a parent, when my kids are old enough, that's where we're going. School's canceled. All right, pile up. Let's go. We're going to get better at something today. We got work to do. Athletics is going to be a very, 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 in my opinion, and again, this is unbridled. This is nothing to do with sponsorship, partnership, whatever. It was a good idea when I saw it on paper, and living out yesterday and watching the Wardles and the twinkle in their eye, the excitement that they're kind of right there because it hasn't officially opened yet. It's going to be something big. And we need to take advantage of it. And if I know people in this town, and I know people in this realm of sports, it's going to be huge. Because there's two things in this town that matters the most to people. It's the weather and it's the sports. And athletics is your new home for athletes. Looking forward to it. Let's take let's get to our branded and sponsored segment here, which is the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by our friends over in North Lima, Joe Dickey Electric, or on the web at DickeyElectric.com. Here we go. The Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark for this Thursday, the 28th of July. I got to tell you, I don't know where the month went. I have no clue where the month went. I thought June went fast, but July just sped by, which tells me that August, September, October, and November are going to fly. And it's one of those things where I think I've told you guys before, it's football season goes so fast. Everybody talks about it being the fastest 10 weeks of the year, and it is. But because it's almost 2 seasons now, if you get to the state championship, you're at 16 games. Our football season technically started last week when we started reporting on 7-on-7s. So you look at that, and all of a sudden it is, 25, 30 weeks out of the year. It's over half the year, because when we start talking about college football, we start talking about, these shows will be based around professional football as well. For segments, mostly about the high school and the youth, because that's what we do. But listen, we're not going to shy away from the Browns or the Steelers. No, never. Especially because it's going to be a juicy year for both teams. But I got to tell you, the older you get, and my parents always told me when I was younger, the older you get, the faster it goes. I remember being a kid and Christmas, could not get there fast enough. It was always forever. It felt like years between Christmases. And now you blink your eyes and you're Santa Claus is slipping down your chimney. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. So for the kids out there, enjoy the moment, enjoy the pace that you're on right now, because it only gets faster. It only gets more furious. And it's hard to slow down. It's hard to slow down. And you parents that are out there and have the trick of slowing things down, let me know. Send me an email about how to slow things down, how to necessarily enjoy the moment, because it's tough. I love the moments I'm in, but it is tough to sit there and take mental pictures of everything that's going on. So I hope you guys have a great day. I want to thank you. Thanks, Sean Guerrero, for stopping by. Again, thank you to Athletics for allowing us to have that behind the scenes and hang around and be in their hair all day yesterday. We got a good show planned for you tomorrow, some interviews, and of course, more on ysnlive.com. Appreciate you guys stopping by. We will see you tomorrow, 3 to 4, right here on the YSN Power Hour. Peace. YSN thanks you for watching this